got classics, we got new stories, wild worlds to view. Samurai, swords to Macamite. Every episode ignite the night. Power up, get ready to go. Feel the hype, it's about to flow. Anime unlock, turn it up. Energy blast, fill your cup. Anime unlock, turn it up. Energy blast, fill your cup. Old school, new school, never stop. It's a vibe, it's a drop, it's a bop, bop, bop. From the ninjas in the hit and miss to the stars where the myths exist. Villains rise, heroes fight, we're breaking it down every night. Enemy dreams in neon glow. Unfold the tales you need to know. From action-packed to heartfelt scenes, we're unlocking all your dreams. We got new stories, wild worlds to view. Samurai, swords to Macamite. Every episode ignite the night. Power up, get ready to go. Feel the hype, it's about to flow. Samurai sword, ignite the night. Power up, get ready to go. Feel the hype, it's about to flow. To view, samurai swords to next to met the night. Every episode ignite the night. Power up, get ready to go. Feel the hype, it's about to flow. Old school, new school, never stop. It's a vibe, it's a drop, it's a bop, bop, bop. From the ninjas in the hidden mist to the stars where the myths exist. Villains rise, heroes fight, we're breaking it down every night. Anime dreams in neon glow. Unfold the tales you need to know. From action-packed to heartfelt scenes, we're unlocking all your dreams. Lights flash, feel the bass, feel the smash. Black David Wally in the zone. Anime unlocked, you're not alone. We got classics, we got new stories, wild worlds to view. Samurai swords to Macamite. Every episode ignite the night. Power up, get ready to go. Feel the hype, it's about to flow. Samurai swords to Macamite. Every episode ignite the night. Power up, get ready to go. Feel the hype, it's about to flow. Anime unlock, turn it up. Energy blast, fill your cup. Old school, new school, never stop. It's a vibe, it's a drop, it's a pop, pop, pop. From the ninjas in the hidden mist to the stars where the myths exist. Villains rise, heroes fight. We're breaking it down every night. Anime dreams in neon glow. Unfold the tales you need to know. From action-packed to heartfelt scenes, we're unlocking all your dreams. Anime dreams in neon glow. Unfold the tales you need to know. From action-packed to heartfelt scenes, we're unlocking all your dreams. Anime dreams in neon glow. Unfold the tales you need to know. From action-packed to heartfelt scenes, we're unlocking all your dreams.
Hello, hello. It is Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. We are in the middle of the week again to another episode with a collaboration of CBN Tech Talk with Spotted A2 Network for Anime Unlock. How you guys doing? Um, this weekend we're very interested. About four of us came out for the Comic Con event, the New York City Comic Con of 2025, which is my first event. One of our team members was the second, while the other one, the main guy, Peter, aka the Sparta, have been on multiple times. I would say it was a very interesting experience. Hey Eric, how you doing? Yeah, it was a very interesting experience. I really enjoyed myself, and it was something I learned a lot from. Well, so far, what we did, we shared some of the pictures that we took at the event on both of our YouTube channel on the Spotted A2 Network channel as well as TBN Tech Talk. I also shared some on book side. I try to share as much on the Instagram side and other media. It was a very unique event. Meet a lot of actors, a couple of wrestlers. Let's see. Up on the camera club by Sergeant Slaughter, icon wrestler from the old age. Took a picture with the Godfather, Dilla Fatu. Shout out to him. He got a lot of energy on him. So Killer Cross and his wife, Hurricane Hems. And I remember I walked, nah, I said walk by. I saw Sweetling come on the escalator on Saturday. I know he had an event on Friday. I missed that, but what a cool event. So how's everybody doing? Had everybody taken it so far? What's going on? What is on your mind today? And I hope you're ready for this show coming up. Waiting for everybody to come and give people a time. Let's give you like an extra 5 minutes or so. See about that to pop up. But we have a lot to talk about today. We really do. It's a very unique topic because last week's topic, I know there's a lot of you guys didn't watch, or a lot of you didn't come out to watch, which is fine. But the show we did, something what needed to be done because it was like a unique debate that we feel have not been done properly, even though the YouTube channel Dead Battle did it themselves. I don't think they were being honest with the with the view. So fun conversation because one, you're taking character from two different completely genre. We have Goku from the Dragon Ball Z franchise coming from the anime slash manga environment, or we'll call it universe or multiverse, or how you want to call it, versus Superman, the Man of Steel from DC comic books. If you want to compare a strength level, it's not really that straightforward or simple to do so because you're not sure you can apply DC level of measurement based on strength level compared to the anime level. That's the difference. And come to anime based on the franchise, it's a lot. But it was an interesting conversation, nonetheless. We took our time to start digging in much deep to comparison. What it showed what there is a unique loophole discussion when they want to do this battle, how they went about it, and how either they did it on purpose or being biased to give it the win to Superman. Which I don't think that was the case. nonetheless, I will not do that. I don't want to get back to that debate again no more time because it seems it may be pointless. Shout out to my partner Wally because he brought his own point of view as well, which is very legit. So it's almost like either after the debate and everything, Goku would have won the battle regardless of what we think or not. Look at the fact that the level he has achieved is something different. Now, the topic we are working on today is something. Oh, I'm breaking up? Okay, hold on again. This is something I've been noticing back with my internet provider, aka Verizon. I don't know why they does this to me, but it's live on a show with I'm trying to get gigabit speed. For some apparent reason, I'm losing connection. Right now, it's going up to four what 449.33 megabit per second download, which is unusual. The upload max out to barely above 300, which 319 megabit per second. And here's what I don't understand. You pay for gigabit speed. Hmm? Gigabit speed require you to have up to what 800 to 900 megabit per second download, while almost the same as an upload. And I'm getting this kind of speed right now. Verizon, I'm putting you on spot right now. I think you one of the main reasons why most of my broadcasts have been shaky. It don't make no sense. I know it seems fine now because it seems like the speed picked up. Right now it's 694.54 megabit per second download. And the upload is almost 500 now. I think this is something I will have to call Verizon when I get a chance to and call them out. Like either your router is outdated, it's not giving a steady flow of data, or there's something that's going on within the area that you're not telling me. But when we get to the for Verizon in New York City, Brooklyn, New York, that is, you get connected to a particular big black box they put in your house or your apartment, whatever you may have. And when all the systems, you have TV, you have phone, or internet, everything comes from that box directly. So that shouldn't be a problem. So while we're waiting for our co-host, Wally, I want to ask, see if you guys have your idea about today's topic of anime. Which is a very unique topic to get into. Because now you're dealing with up to date right now. When they first had the big boom back in the 90s, no, 80s and 90s, competing for readers, right? Not the same. Let me see why I'm trying to get somebody to load up the PDF. The first time we do a PDF, but hey, I'll get it loaded up. Pardon me. Let me know if my mic is still working. I'm getting to try to reconnect my mic, which don't make no sense. This is what I'm talking about. Connectivity issue. So let's see. Yeah. Let me see. have it upload on my end. Give me a second to capture this part. Okay. Video share. Let me take. I have it up right now. Let me fix some of the bulletin. It's kind of weird. Let me know, guys. See me good. Move mirror. Not to have it that way. Let me have it this way instead. No. That's strange. Let me just do it this way. I think that'll be better this way for now. I'm still waiting for Wally to show up because we will be talking about this particular topic. Let me see if I can make it full screen so it can move. Give me a second. All right. I'm gonna have it there. I don't have full screen mode. Not gonna work for me for now, which is fine. This is what we were talking about, but I want to wait for him to come up because there's something about this topic that got me thinking about a lot of things. Because for one, when we're dealing with comic book, we know it's DC, we know we have Marvel comic, we can have Archie comic, Archie cuts, the material they use for the show Riverdale, which is now on Netflix. We had Image comic, we had Dark Horse comic, I remember that one. And what other comics? I know we did talk about that between manga and comic books, right? Now, when we come to manga, the category in manga is the same with the category in anime. I want you guys to understand that. There's nothing different between the manga and the anime kind of thing. So when you're dealing with the architect of anime, this topic it will dive into a lot of things. I want to be very clear because I've gone into almost in depth on almost every subject concerning some of our past review. Oh no, you didn't, ladies and gentlemen. I think Wale must be mugged by the Keebler F since he hasn't showed up yet, which is crazy. But I will not hold that against him. That what's going on right now. Please forgive him. But when we go and talk about this particular topic, it is something very, very unique. Because for one, when we're dealing with the anime, we're dealing with major corporations that have a big footprint right now in the anime industry. I remember we went to Comic Con on Saturday. The first thing that came to my mind was to find one, what anime company, what's going on, Don Juki, how you doing? When I went to Comic Con on Saturday, I had the Java Center in Manhattan. It's around 34th, 35th Street area, whatever. So in case anybody come to New York, you want to go to the Java Center for the Comic Con event when they hold next year, you want to talk to that particular area on the other side of Madison Square Garden. My first thought in my mind was that what anime studio will be at Comic Con on that particular week? I wasn't there on Wednesday, I wasn't there on Thursday, I wasn't there on Friday, but I was able to be there on Saturday because we have back for Saturday. As I got into the location, toward to my left hand side going down to the 1000, I noticed Toei Animation was set up. They had a huge setup whatsoever. If anybody know who Toei Animation, this is the anime studio that produced the Dragon Ball franchise. From Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Kai, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Heroes, Dragon Ball Superheroes, Dragon Ball Diamond, at where they have their hand on the game. Yes, they do. They also produced One Piece, and they produced many other anime. Toei Animation is one of the big anime studios, which had a big footprint in Japan. We have Sunrise. I was looking for someone now known as Nam Namco Bandai. The original name that other company owned Gundam, Mobutu Gundam, was Sunrise before they converted their name into Namco Bandai. If you're aware of Namco Bandai, hey, White School Podcast, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I'm still waiting on Wally. If you know Mobutu Gundam, the earlier edition of Mobutu Gundam, they had the logo called Sunrise. That would be the company that had the ownership of the IP. Now they upgrade to Namco Bandai. Namco Bandai owned Mobutu Gundam. I believe also Tekken. Yeah, that's the video game. Samurai Showdown? No. Soul Edge. Let me see what else. So I know Mobutu Gundam is the big name for Namco Bandai, but there's many other anime on that. But I can't remember exactly because if you know Namco Bandai, you know um, Mobutu Gundam. Yet I mentioned that one, and then Gunpla modeling set. You know about the fighting game they have: Tekken, Soul Edge, Soul Calibur. Um, what other big name anime? I'm trying to think of a card out of my head. Oh yes, Tekken is old. Yes, you can say that. Tekken is old, but they're still making a lot of money off that game. Now, mind you, they've tried to do an anime adaptation of this. They have it on Netflix. I think they have season one, season two. But what are not many episodes with it? But they did well on the game side of things. They made a huge killing. So think about it right now. Tekken 6 is part of Evo competition standards. So you have Tekken, you have Street Fighter, you have Mortal Kombat. Very few fighter games being added to the list for those type of online competition that for combat sports. Then you might have UFC if they put into that. Well, it's possible. I don't know, but Tekken is still making money for the company. So I mentioned Toy Animation. I mentioned Namco Bandai, formerly known as Sunrise. What other company you might have an idea of? Ninja Gaiden? I think Namco Bandai owned Ninja Gaiden. I might be wrong. That is that is another game, and they put out a new game called Ninja Gaiden 4, I believe. That should be out already by now. That's another thing. But I'm still waiting for Wally. If Wally starts to come out, I'll just start the show and keep it pushing. Then he coming on the phone. Namco Bandai, Toy Animation, other name I'm trying to remember off my head. There's a few other big name anime production companies, but those two always seem to be heavy. So let me just start the show and see when he will come and he would add his own point of view. Talk about the architect of anime. Look at the major anime studio, right? So let's do the introductions. Today we're going beyond the opening theme song and the main character. We are delving deep into the factories of the fantasy, the very foundation of the global art form to meet the architect of anime. That's the major studio that design, builds, and bring these worlds to life. The studio name, yeah, I remember. Studio Ghibli. That name is hard to pronounce, I'm not gonna lie. Let's look it up front. Toy Animations and UFO Table. What I'm surprised in the thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. Madhouse. Why didn't there's Madhouse, there's Gynax, Ghibli come to mind, Armex, Yomex, Mappa, Mappa Studio. Mappa Studio is another company as well. Now, for all you guys watching and listening, I'm not sure you know this. There is a black owned anime production studio in Japan known as Dot Studio. DART Studio. And at first, I thought it was owned by one, but now when it's actually two brothers, twin brothers from New Jersey. It is some brothers, right? If you want to find what I'm talking, you look up the YouTube channel called Black Experience in Japan, and the fellow content creator did an interview with the owner of the first black-owned anime production studio that's located in Japan. He had two videos. One's about 35 minutes short. The other one, the more extended interview, whereby they go into a lot of deep questions concerning about what he have done. So it's a big deal, yes. Dot Studio. And funny about Dot Studio, they had their hand on One Piece. They had a hand on some of the latest anime you're watching today. Right now, if it's on Netflix, it is on Crunchyroll. They got a hand on a lot of production. So it's a very, very, very big deal. So take note to that. UFO Table, I'm trying to remember what kind of IP they have ownership to. So when we get into the conversation, you can see what I'm talking about. Our major production house, they are just distinctive brands, each with its own artistic philosophy, which is true. I want you guys to take note of that. A lot of these anime studios had its own artistic philosophy, and they consistent by it. Signature technique and a specific cinematic legacy that they forged over the decade. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm not gonna use One Piece. I use One Piece a lot as an example. If you're following Mobile Suit Gundam from the yesteryear, back in the 70s, 80s, how they're drawing, the production, the animation of it, and you watch it over the course of the year they have put out their product, you see a unique change for where they had it then to where it had it now. It's almost a high level of perfection on their part when it comes to Mobile Suit Gundam. Naruto, to a certain degree, Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball did a lot of changes that have been made to their production and to their artwork. If you are keen to the detail, you'll notice about that. They are very heavy with the change they be making. Because I remember you show a picture of three different versions of Goku, but done by three different artists. And you can tell by their skill set and their detail that even though they draw almost the same face feature, something was different from one picture to the other. There's a different style, different take on it. They are creating engine that dictate the very look, feel, and feature of the medium. Here's the thing: the owner of the mangas that their fan base are pushing to have anime adaptation of, they had to determine and pick what production studio will be right for the project, which is very, very critical. You will notice at times there's certain anime that have been done by either one anime production company or multiple over the period of time. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned this one. White Crew Party that she have been watching Ultraman, and the movie looks so real. This is what I'm talking about. If you watch the old school Ultraman and you watch all the past one up to now, the love this is mostly CGI. Yet it is CGI. I know Peter don't like CGI. I don't care what you say, but when it comes to these Japanese studio when they use CGI, there's a level of perfection that goes on with it. Mobutu Gunner used CGI to a certain degree because he dealing with mech. Put that in put. When any anime that have had a lot of mech action going on, there's a high level of chance that they're going to use a different version of CGI between which production they're looking at or what they're working on. But it had to be a unique way. And believe me, the creator of that particular genre, whew, you think he had it bad. He had to monitor, he had to watch, he had to supervise and see if it up to the task. And believe me, it's not that simple. It's very, very not that simple. So I'm gonna go to the next slide so you can get onto the conversation. Now, this is something I'm not sure everybody mech. I say mecha. When I say mech, I'm not saying MECK. I'm saying MECH. It's short for mecha. MECHA. Now, I want you guys to understand this. Let me see if I can move myself somewhere. Uh, yeah, that'd be better. I don't want to block all the font. I want to take note of this. Good point of view. CEL animation. That's a unique style of animation that's being done. Later down the line, I think we will start breaking down what the terminology really is so people can get understanding of these things. All right? So I want you guys to see the timeline here. The history of animation production, the pre-war era, and the dream of the Disney of the East. Early animation. Take note of this one. From 1910 to 1940s. Right? Japanese animation, or Doga, that's the actual name for it, began in the 1910s, but was mostly short form, experimental, and government propaganda. Perfect example, Momotaro Sacred Sailor in 1945 was the first feature-length anime. So I want you guys to understand the timeline, how old anime really is. And while we are talking about this, I want to put at the back of your mind, start looking at the time when cartoons started in the West. If you are heavy on the cartoon side of the Western world, and you remember the timeline, I want you to start comparing the timeline with the timeline concerning the East, aka Japan. That's the first point. You need to understand that. The birth of Toei Doga, aka formerly now known as Toei Anime, that is 1956. After World War II, the film company Toei created an animation division, Toei Doga, would later change their name to Toei Animation. Take note of that. 1956. The next point, divisions. Yes, it was black. Thank you very much. That was the first set of the black and white anime. I won't call it cartoon, but the term anime or Japanese animation is cartoon, Japanese term, but don't want to say the word cartoon. Anime is in short, it's being named for that. So thank you very much. 1956, take note of that. The vision Toei goal with ambition to become the Disney of the East, creating high quality, full feature theatrical films like The Tale of the White Serpent, 1958. Toei was watching, observing, monitoring Walt Disney. While Walt Disney was building the attraction in the realm of animation, aka cartoon on a Western term, Toei were working on their part in Japan, trying to become what we call Disney of the East. And the first animation theatrical film was The Tale of the White Serpent. That was 1958. Next point. The effects, they centralized large-scale factory approach, gathering a huge pool of young, brilliant talent, including future legends like Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata. They are the co-founder of Ghibli, Studio Ghibli. Thank you, Eric. Osamu Tezuka and Walt Disney, the man not the company, were very good friends. That is true. Hmm, that's a good question. Hey, David, how did they use the flip animation book? I think that's a very unique question. I think we got to look into that a little bit further because when it comes to the animation style, it's not the same as done in the West. And this is the reason why we're having this show because we were digging in. And shout out to Wale. Wale was doing the original because they were hit topics. I know at my round of show, we had a lot of things I look at them into. Those are quality topics. And I wish he can come up and pop up if he could. If not, we will continue. So, speaking of the devil, the pioneer and the problem, Osamu Tezuka. Eric, you on top of that one. The catalyst, Ento Osamu Tezuka, often called the god of manga and the father of anime. He saw the potential of television. And Eric was on point. He did mention this, though, that Osamu Tezuka and Walt Disney, the man, not the company, were very good friends. They were. Yet they were very good friends, but their approach to animation almost similar, but it's not. Here's the challenge. Produce a 30-minute episode of animation every week with the same quality as Disney or 12 feature was financially impossible. That was the issue first at hand. Then animation required 12 to 24 frames per second, FPS. Now, to all your gamers out there, I'm sure you understand that terminology, frame per second. That's the speed of the animation if you're playing games. You have that thing on your upper right hand side where when you into the certain game and you see the meter between it, you have 20, 15, 30, 40, 60 to 100. That's the actual frame per second you deal with the particular game. That if you have a high end PC or laptop or low end dependent, right? The solutions. Limited animation. Tezuka, through his studio Mushi Production, innovate a cost-saving technique known as limited animation. This was the industry-defining compromise. How you gonna put this? I didn't know what I'm saying that one, it was harder for them to compete with Disney. But let's be real. Let's look at it this way. If anyone understand the history of Walt Disney, when they got into the production of making animation, you ask yourself, what was the budget were they given? How much money was invested in this? How were they able to get a lot of investors to invest in what they were producing? Going to be what going to be one of the biggest production or the biggest investment they ever done so far. That was the issue. So when you have Osamu looking from Disney and see how they're doing and see if he can compete with them, he had to figure out a unique way to not only be cost saving but also cost friendly. How it works? Reducing the frame rate drastically, often to 8 to 12 frames per second, and reusing background cell, employing close up and dramatic still shot, relying on dramatic sound effect and voice acting to convey action. I'm sure it's almost similar to how Disney does it. Maybe we'll have a show we will talk about it maybe in future time. Eric, you know your stuff. FPS is also applied to stop motion. That is a separate topic. That is totally correct. The breakthrough, Astro Boy, 1963. For all your young cat out there who think Astro Boy is like some, Astro Boy is one of the old school anime, OG anime that went through a bunch of reboots. The first time they came to existence in 1963. With this new model, Muchi Production launched Astro Boy as the first commercially successful weekly 30-minute TV anime series. It was a smash hit. Yes, it was. It was a big deal in Japan, and it was the very first start. So Osamu Tezuka created something that everybody not only look up to, but later on learn to adapt and to perfect the craft of this, which is a very, very big deal. Studio system take root. There's a lot of comments we'll talk about this. If you have questions, you ask me the question. I'll help you look for the answer if I can. The studio system take root. The template is Astro Boy success. When they made Astro Boy and it was successful, and they were able to air it on multiple channels or have it aired on broadcast on multiple TV, it became a big deal to the industry in Japan. And mind you, remember that I said it before in past conversations we have on Anime Unlock. A lot of animes came from manga. So you have to have source material to work upon. And Astro Boy was the first to make it through. So Astro Boy success created a template for the entire industry. And when you look at it, that where it's coming from. It's coming from manga first, the books, the magazine, when you want to call it comic, whatever I want to call it. From manga to TV anime. From TV anime to merchandises. That was the blueprint on how anime can survive and strive in Japan, which is facts. The proliferation of the studio. As demand for TV content exploded, the industry shift from a focus on film for feature film with a Toei original model to high volume TV series. And I'll say this though. Imagine how many manga was out there at that time when they started doing this. And the first child was Astro Boy. They were successful with Astro Boy. But they had so much material. Imagine how many chapters of Astro Boy that they had to take and start working on producing different versions. Not only take different versions, no, they're working on multiple episodes of Astro Boy. That was one part. Getting voice actor who can voice the characters in these anime. That's another part. Like I said earlier, getting a boatload of talented animators who working around the clock. Now, if you go on YouTube, there's a behind the scene footage of how people are working on the production of Mobile Gundam, which is one that should be out there on YouTube. Dot Studio, shout out to Dot Studio, our first black-owned animation production studio in Japan. You check out his studio as well. It shows how to work behind the scenes working on the animation. Like who is responsible for what on the anime part, who is responsible for the motion part of it, who is responsible for the coloring, who is responsible for the effects, either using CGI or CEL, whatever it may be used. That's the big deal. Animator who dislike the low pay or the rough production at the Pioneer Studio with the Toei or Mushis split up to form their own houses. Here was the issue. 1910 all the way to 1950, where we had the boom from manga. They're coming to anime. When they were successful producing their first anime, 30-minute anime, you gotta ask yourself this question. How much money were they generating? One. How much money were they taking in after the look at the costs, the distribution, getting the lighting, having broadcast on multiple TV stations, the production, you pay the voice actors, and the animated. It, I'm, this is the same question you go look at where Disney. How many animated in Walt Disney or any other cartoon production company in the US was not being paid well from the very beginning? We found out recently on my feed. I found out it was actually a black artist who helped establish Walt Disney was never given his credit. Well, that'll be another history lesson to dig into. So imagine that a lot of animators who was not happy with the low pay. With me, a certain chunk of the money was invested back into the business. So this is everybody who want to run a business. I'll be quick to clear with you. I don't give the masterclass running a business, but when you run a business, when you start to make money, you gotta ask yourself the questions. Are you going to take the money that you made and reinvest it into the business, or are you going to spend it off lavishly? This is why this was something with a big deal. The animator may not like the pay they were getting, but I'm sure they knew a lot of money would be invested back to improve production, to improve the quality of production, and to see how the production is being done. So they split off to form their own houses. And this is how many of the major studios we know today are established, directly or indirectly. I mentioned Rise. Ladies and gentlemen, he has arrived. Please welcome our lovely co-host, Wally. How you doing, Wally?
Can you hear me?
You. Wally, Wally,
Say it again.
can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Making sure.
If you can hear Wally, put a number one in the chat. Let us know if Wally mic is okay. So let's see. Eric said OVA are the subclass of the anime that was not adapted from the manga, but a few later became manga when they got popular. That is true. I'm right here waiting on you. We like, want to take over, continue, or want to continue to read? And you put your point into it.
How can you be waiting for me when I told you what I told you beforehand?
Huh?
How can you be waiting for me when I told you what I told you beforehand?
It's all right. It's all right.
Like literally, I wasn't even supposed to be here. The fact that I even here, I'm just checking it out because I could literally just drop off later on. But
No, it's fine. It's fine. Ain't done, DQ. Wow, really?
Eric, the only thing that I have escaped. You know what? I'm not even gonna go there with you. I'm not even gonna go there with you.
One day, why they go bash Kevin's favorite anime and Eric favorite anime and Eric will be real tight.
I don't even know his favorite anime, so I can't even do anything.
Don't worry, we will find out sooner or later.
No, if Eric is smart enough, he just won't say it at all. If I'm being honest and fair, he just won't say it at all.
So you say Eric the punk now? He's scared for you to criticize?
No, he just not gonna just put himself through that. What's going on, Don?
What's going on?
Well, lucky enough, this is holding up.
It's
So.
funny because here's the thing. I have a few favorites. If you don't like my favorite, you can criticize. I'm not afraid of the heat. But I know a particular person was mad with us. But we stunk on his favorite, but we were like, it was kind of, suspect. And this brother over here went in on the nuclear, and I was like, God damn, I'm trying to be nice.
Again, for someone that has not watched it and heard the explanation, that's not my fault.
Oh wow, really?
Which lad you speak of? I know you ain't
That's
calling me
funny.
sassy.
But as I mentioned, directly, indirectly, Sunrise, which is what I mentioned I saw on Comic Con event on Saturday, is now known as Namco Bandai. They're the owner of the IP for Mobile Suit Gundam. Madhouse, that's another anime production company. Yeah, Sunrise, now know that Namco Bandai. They're Madhouse, they're Mappa, Studio Ghibli, um, like Eric said, other studio Eric didn't mention earlier, Gainax, Amic, and Yomex, and there's many more. The other were formed by veteran leaving Mushi Production and Toei, right? Which is, I'm not gonna be, I'm not gonna, how would I put it? Toei Animation created a culture that benefited the entire country, which is Japanese animation. The money we were making from the first production actionable from 1958 started to bring funding for them to get not only better equipment, a bigger studio, hire more talent to work on multiple projects, right? So if you're running a business and you're scaling your business, as money coming in, would there be a chance that you get a high pay, or you gotta wait until the pay starts to be stable so you could start talking about okay, how much we start paying these animators? What do you think, Wally?
Okay, what do I think about what again?
If you're running an animation business, you're one of the people who started the animation business in Japan, you would be able to put a successful anime, aka Astro Boy. Money coming in from the TV studio or TV station based on how many people are watching your program. After money is coming in, you know you got to take a huge chunk of that money and throw it back into the business, right?
Uh huh.
Me, if you have one successful hit, you want to expand the studio, get better equipment, get a better bigger space, buys whatever you need to it, establish a bit on a much bigger space, on bigger level. Yes, you got to pay the bills. You got to pay off the TV station who charge you a fee to produce to air your program, right?
Uh,
Same out here. I don't know how much you got to pay for your production license. I know out here the FCC control that in the US, so that do require money, or I don't know how they go about it. Fine, you got to pay the employees. Your brand new company, the pay you're giving these animators are not as high as they expect to be. How will you work around that? Will you put yourself in a bind or let them know, give us some time so we can have a better flow of money? What would you have done? I'm
okay,
putting you
wait,
in, I'm putting you in the shoe
'cause
of
I'm sort
Osamu
of you're sort of
Tezuka.
losing me when you make these long-winded questions. Okay, are you
I'm,
asking from a perspective of okay, if I was running a media corporation,
mhm.
would I do what or what?
If you have animator who working for you,
Uh huh.
who having an issue with the low pay, even though your first animation was successful but money was coming in, but your concern is if you don't get certain required equipment, later production will be getting hard for you to produce. But your animator complain about the pay. How do you keep them with working for the company with you?
Simple. You bring them in and make them understand the money.
That's fact. But if they want to leave and create their own studio production, let them leave, or you have them sign a particular contract, or I would say
Oh, I'm not believing in trapping people. Hey, if you believe you can do it yourself, go ahead.
that's fair. Now, will you adapt what Amazon did, whereby when they first started off, or they're making pay, but everybody becomes stakeholder to the company?
They could if the business is up there.
That makes sense.
I mean, I don't
100%.
think so. It makes a difference because a lot of people. I mean, earlier you were making a statement about Toei, but a lot of people that were in Toei actually separated from Toei and made their own studios at that point too. So I don't
This is
think so.
true.
Toei made a big stand as far as making other producers go out to go get their own studios. So that's
That's
just the
true.
main thing.
That's very, very true. I was looking at it that way and like, auntie, how you compare them with Walt Disney, how they operate their own business.
Uh,
'Cause Eric mentioned
Walt
this.
Disney's not the best like animation place. I mean, I think Pixels was just way more better, but yeah.
I remember Eric mentioned this one earlier. He said Osama and Tezuka and Walt Disney, the man, not the company, were very good friends. I mean, they both had the same
Yeah,
idea.
he learned from the other person for sure. Yeah, but learn from and master are two different things.
Good point. Very good point. So, key takeaway for the presentation: the true architecture breakthrough was a financial one. Which I'll give you that scenario. Which I can imagine where they were staying at because Japan is like an island country, and the amount of work you got to put yourself through is gonna be very hectic. Osamu Tezuka didn't just give us action, but he invented the economy. He invented the economic and started model of limited animation, which made the weekly TV anime series profitable. It's something that I'll give him credit for. This forced efficiency is why classic anime look the way it does. And it what led to the proliferation of the major competing studio we will now examine. The truth. Toy animation, the pillar of pop culture or the king of Japanese pop culture. That's what I would call it.
I
Take
mean,
it
I
to
wouldn't say king if it don't touch all genres.
oh,
I mean, that's just the truth. I mean, you may
right.
be the one of the big hitters, but you can't be the king or the emperor or however you want to name it if you
Well, they
don't touch
started
all
first, right?
genres. It may start at first, but you haven't touched all genres though. If the difference if you have all genres and you hit in every ballpark of all genres, then that's a different story. But it's not the
I'll
case.
give you that's a good argument. That's a good argument. Signature brand, longevity, yeah, they still standards. Mass appeal, yo, you see the Comic Con, I can tell you they demanded an existence. They took a huge chunk of the presentation floor and equate to a generational franchise. The contribution to a certificate transition from a post-war film focus to dominating the TV market, perfecting the shonen action formula that conquered the world. Their own property that have defined anime for over half a century. And here the list, ladies and gentlemen, so you can be aware of. He worked on franchise, the Dragon Ball franchise, which I mentioned earlier. It's from Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z Kai, Super, GT, Daima,
Yeah,
Superhero, Dragon Ball Hero. And you got One Piece, you got Sailor Moon,
Dragon Ball
Digimon,
Hero. Was
the
even
My
Dragon Ball Hero on TV?
who?
Is Dragon Ball Hero even on TV?
It was a promotion they did in Japan, and they didn't do it over here.
So
Put on
technically,
TV
okay.
production in the TV. No, yes, Dragon Ball Hero did for a particular game. They have it on TV Tokyo, but they never
I
aired
know
it.
because when you mention GT and everything else, I'm like, huh. I mean, because
Yeah,
usually when I talk about the franchise, I'm only like that Dragon Ball. Okay, Dragon Ball Z, Z Kai, Super Diamond. I'm just keeping that Akira Takayama. I'm not even worried about the other projects.
yeah, they have side project that is aired on TV in Japan. TV Tokyo, one of the more popular TV stations out there in Japan. But we know a lot of stuff they air on TV Tokyo don't come over here due to licensing. You understand the argument? One Piece, Sailor Moon, Digimon, the rival to Pokemon. That's all the key franchise, and they got a long list of anime production they had their hands on. Very factual. So yeah, they're the pillar of pop. Japanese pop culture, and they did change the culture big time, like Walt Disney. Sunrise, which I did mention earlier, someone is now known as Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco, so they is the master of mecha and the genre. I won't call him the master, I'm calling him the king of mecha because they had that to really clear. Picture brand is vast, complex, multi-layer science fiction and action universe, often incorporate transformative mecha designs. Hold on. What did Eric say? AIC. What is AIC? I'll figure that one out. The contribution originated from the former Mochi production staff. Someone perfected the real robot genre and excelled at franchise management and merchandise synergy, particularly the Bandai model kit. I want you guys to understand this, guys. What they're referring to is their cash cow. I don't want to call it a cash cow or something much bigger than that. Their cash kaiju. Because they make a severe killing on Mobile Suit Gun Plus. When I went to Comic Con, I was talking about see a big display. They didn't have a huge display like you pick in the other event. But yo, they sell a lot. It's on a global level. Key work and franchise. Mobile Suit Gundam, they is a genre-defining mecha franchise. Cowboy Bebop and Coast Geese. Cowboy Bebop, you can find the live-action version on Netflix. I'm not sure about the animated version. You'll find out on Crunchyroll. Streaming toy that Eric hates the most. Code Geass is a very unique franchise that great storytelling, great world building, great plot twists. Very, very unique, but very, very deep as well. Mobile Suit Gundam, we and Wally, we said it already. If we want to talk about that particular franchise, it's not that simple. So many productions, so much material, a high level of perfection. They took that thing very, very serious. So I call him the king of mecha, not the master. That's how I look at it. But they got competition, don't get me wrong. They do have competition, but they're the king on that part. Studio Ghibli, the artist of animation. Signature brand, unparalleled, hand-drawn artistry. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've watched artists over the years. I've never seen any artist as good as the Japanese artists who take their hand-drawn artistry to the next level. But to me, it is a very severely big deal. Oh, AIC, sorry. Thank you very much for helping out. AIC stands for Anime International Company. AIC. And I've watched Disney is one thing. All the productive cartoon companies you have in the United States, one thing. The one in France. But I don't think they can touch the one in Japan. They took perfection to a whole different ball. You come to detail, you come to dimension, come to looking almost digitally real. And the technique they use that is no joke. Painterly background, deeply emotion, often telling a narrative with the theme of nature and pacifism. The contribution, co-founded by Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata, newly established a model outside of the mainstream TV production group, prioritize creative control and traditional animation technique. This is where I know Peter would be like, yeah, they keep the old technology. Don't let's do all these CGI, yada, yada, yada. Yes, CGI have its feature, it has its functions, depending on what kind of anime you're building. Not everything is run by CGI. But it all depends what kind of anime you're producing. And they also have winning critical acclaim globally. Key franchise or key works are Spirited Away, that one landed in the movie theater, whatever the TV series. My Neighbor Totoro, I think that was also movies. Princess, Princess Nonoke, that went to a lot of theaters. Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, I know it hit the theater out here in the US when it came out. It was a big deal. Any other anime production on the TV side, I'm not too sure. I may have come across them and I've forgotten about it. That could be the case. Madhouse. Whew. I'm trying to figure out who gave the idea of Madhouse. I don't know who would I deal with that one. The chameleon of quality. Signature brand created diversity, adapting that different genre from so that Eric is our walking encyclopedia for our channel. Don Blood does excellent work, one of the top anime we have in the West. Yeah, but is he as good as the one in the East? That's the question. As I was saying, creative diversity, adapting vastly different genre from psychological thriller to superhero comedy, while maintaining a consistently high level of detail and fluidity. Known for the collaboration with art director like Satoshi Kon, a very big name in Japan. A contribution, Madhouse is a studio that rarely imposed a uniform look. Instead, they let the director vision lead. Now, I think I like this type of approach. When we're working on different projects, everything should not be looking the same. It should have its own unique look and taste. I think this is how they where they are right now today. But in some of the medium, most visually varied and critical acclaim work. Key work or key franchise. Number one, Death Note. I don't know how I can watch that one. I know probably much I've seen it, but not me. Perfect Blue. I never got a chance to, but I heard about looking to see that one. One of my favorite, One Punch Man. One Punch Man is overrated. This is one franchise. I don't think people will like it because if you compare One Punch Man, Saitama to Superman, One Punch Man is like the Japanese version of Popeyes. Reactive. I'm gonna put it like that. You can take it or you can leave it. Not my problem. Okay, that's 10. Let me go to the next one. Bones. I don't know. I'll be honest. Some of these studio names got me concerned. Madhouse is one thing. Bones? Signature brand. Dynamic, fluid, and expertly choreographed action sequence. Character focused narrative, specializing in original sci fi and adaptation of complex action. Their contribution, formed by the former Sunrise staff now known as Namco Bandai, Bone carved out a niche by focusing resources on stunning animation quality, particularly during the key fight scene, and making them the standard for modern, high-octane anime. Now, these anime, I'm telling you, they're not no small hitters. They're not medium, they're heavy hitters. Key work in the franchise, My Hero Academia. This is for this new generation of anime lovers. It's heavy. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, another powerful anime franchise. Mob Psycho 100, another one as well. This is the major influence they have on the young generation right now. Look out for those ones as well. Kyoto Animation, known as KyoAni, the master of consistency and detail. Signature brand unwavering quality control at their signature brand. Spectacular character animation, especially expression and subtle movement. A strong focus of slice of life, that kind of down Wally Lane, and high school drama.
¿Qué pasa?
A strong focus on slice of life.
How's that on my lane?
You know me about not watching television. Television fall in the slice of life and the type of drama.
No, it does not.
Okay, I take the word back.
You over here trying to make side digs and shit, man. Sit down. Sit down.
Well, I'm not bad at Eric. Eric do way more than side dig.
Apparently.
Every shoot doing anime dot at you. We like target practice. Contribution. Kill Annie is unique for its salaries. Look at this one. Kill Annie is unique for its salaries staff model, as opposed to the freelance industrial standard, leading to exceptional consistency in employee welfare. Hello. Take note. They are famous for their detailed character work and vibrant, beautiful cinematography. Ah, cinematography. Why am I tongue heavy? Cinematography. Okay, my tongue. Forgive me, my heavy tongue. Key works and franchise: The Milachi of Haruhi Suzumaya. Never heard of that one. Violent Evergarden. I'm aware of that particular anime. And A Silent Voice. Interesting. And then I need to start looking into a little bit more. UFO Table. The Digital Composer. Digital blend is blending 2D and 3D, aka CGI sequence. Peter hates this. About it a bit much about it. Using a digital camera work and high contrast atmospheric lighting effect to achieve a near cinematic look. The contribution in Ufotable redefined what high budget TV anime could look like, particularly with sword fight, big deal, supernatural effect, another big deal, setting a new extremely high benchmark for visual spectacle. Keyword and franchise is why they're making way too much money. Demon Slayer. And Wally, what is the present how would I say it? What is the present amount of money Demon Slayer is making right now in the movie theaters? Would look it up.
Didn't it say like what, like 700 million last time or something like that?
Let me tell you, I'll ask my assistant.
Somewhere around there. It beat it like what, three American movies. It beat it Fantastic Four, Superman, and then Marlon Wayne's movie Him, and something else probably.
Globally. So I'm going to ask my assistant to look up the digit on this part. Right now, my assistant said it has surpassed 648 million.
Okay, I was close.
$774,035 in the box office globally. It has surpassed it. So the other one that's still climbing. It was also reported it had closed over 555 million plus globally in the early coverage. So right now the number is still climbing as we speak. And Fate Zero. If anyone watched Fate Zero, that's another major hit. The anime franchise is ridiculous. Fight scene, the supernatural, it's not no joke. I can see why they're pulling in the dough. But do not sleep on these companies. The planning and the pre-production stage, the studio role. This is the phase where studio exercise its architectural authority, often led by the producer and the director. Source material acquisition. Studio secured the right to the manga, light novel, or design and original concept, known as an anime original. Remember, we talked about it before on our past show about how some of these anime franchise came. Some came from manga books. That's about maybe 60 to 70% of it. Some came from light novels. Some came from games. The fact that the anime studio production company had to secure, lock down, gain ownership, meaning reaching out to a particular manga writer for a particular franchise and want to invest in the adaptation of its manga, it'll be a huge investment. I mean, they're bringing a number of artists, a number of animators, a number of illustrators on board working on a particular project. Based on the amount of money they invest to get that thing done, they hope to at least triple the profit based on the initial investment, which is a very, very big deal. So you need to take note of that. Staffing and scheduling. The studio hired key creative talent, the series director called Kantoku, series composer who managed the script, the character designer, and the chief animated director, CAD. Storybook, the e-content. The director outlined every single shot, the camera angle, and the movement. This is the blueprint. I talked about it before in Bad Anime. But I remember when we talk about every creator had like a character map to have everything put on a bulletin board based on how the production will be done. It may look almost similar to what you see on a manga, but they had to make some adjustments. But for example, Solo Leveling. I read the manga, complete the whole series before the anime ever got finished. But when they air in the anime, the adaptation of the manga, you can tell that there's a difference based on the scenes from the manga compared to the anime. That all gonna be the case. They're all gonna make some changes either we like or we don't. That's what we all be given. Layout. These are highly detailed blueprints for each scene, specifically, petrifying the background character placement. I mentioned that one, and the camera movement. But that was up there. Layout. So I'll say it again. Petrifying the background, the character placement, the camera movement. This is the final draft for the anime scenes. While they're working on the storyboard, I'm seeing so that they have like a story room for all the writers and the creator whatsoever based on the movie, live action, or anime. They have their scene blueprint how they want the thing to be worked out. They place it on the board. They're discussing how the camera will take that particular angle, how they're going to produce that particular scene. From an animated point of view, it's similar to that same perspective. But they're talking to the animator, talking to the illustrator, what to expect for that particular scene, lock in, how much detail they have on the background, on detail on the character, what look they're supposed to have. It is very critical for they start working on the anime. So, it's no joke. Animation phase, the grind. This is where the massive assembly line nature of the studio system become apparently driven by a tight routine TV schedule. I'll be honest with you. One Piece got it bad. I won't say why I say One Piece got it bad. How many animators do you know out there right now today since April 2010? How many anime production out there do you know that producing more than franchise, producing more than 500 episodes? And yeah, the animators, illustrators, designers, and done some working around the clock, which is a tight shift, making sure that episode is ready for the next broadcast. Put that in perspective. Like it's like saying I'm the owner of a production and I'm telling Wally who gonna be the chief animator. And he's responsible to make sure for the next 2 months, 16 episodes you put the air or every week. Make that 8 episodes. Next episode you put the air, make sure it hit the TV studio at a certain timeline. So no matter kind of pressure while it go be on. Join the team. If your show put the air on Tuesday, you started it on a Wednesday morning or Tuesday evening. Work your way on the project. And we understand how business works when it comes to production. In some cases. That part must be at the TV studio hand before Monday morning, if I'm correct. Or they have been sent to their system because they have their people who put that production of yours in a particular time slot to the air. So imagine the kind of the workload, the stress load that put on these people who get into that thing. The key animator, Genga, that's the senior, most skilled animator who draw the keyframe. That's his headache. The starting and the ending point of the motion. This is a quality bedrock of the show. Genga put it in note. The in-between animation, Donga. Let's explain animator offering freelancer or trainee draw the hundred of frames needed between the keyframes to create a smooth motion. It's not an easy task. This is the highest volume work, often outsourced. Inking and painting. Digital transition. In the past, frame were colored by hand on cell sheet. Today it's done digitally. Using software to apply color to the scan line. This shift to digital around the early 2000s was critical for increasing the speed and allowing the complex effect. So imagine how White School Podcast talk about how these animations. I'm thinking this may help answer the question she asked earlier concerning this, the flip animation book. It may be in that type of scope, or it may be something completely different from that. But you can imagine the type of work they got to put in to make sure everything's done frame for frame. And I'll be real though, compared to Western animation, aka United States, Japanese animation is on another level. That is factual. Whole production and assembly. This is the final stage where all the elements are compiled and polished. Backgrounds and CGI. Excuse me. Hand drawn backgrounds and any computer generated images, that is CGI, elements like 3D models of car. Sorry. Not every car design or mech design will be hand drawn. That's not always going to be the case. It's very based on the type of production they're working on. Or the crowd scene are rendered and added. Things like UFO table and so on are known for their mastery. Sounds like cute. I will call him the king. I know I'm called Bendak. I'll keep reminding you guys of that one. Composition and effect. The chief animating director, CAD, ensure visual consistency across the episode. The composition is the process of laying all the elements, the background, the character, the CGI, the spectral effect, the lightning, into the final shot. This phrase is key to a show unique look, which is very, very key. Editing, sound, and scoring. The episode is edited, the dialogue and the sound effects are added. Music score is inserted. The episode is then ready for broadcast. That's their process. Let's see. The director vision versus the studio brand. It's also key because some directors stay with the studio, some directors look for another studio. This tension is the core of your presentation thesis. Studio as a quality controller, aka KyoAni. A few studio, most notable Kyoto Animation, keep almost the entire process in-house with salary employees. This allowed them to maintain an incredible, consistent, and distinctive visual brand and quality level. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is something I want to ask you guys a question, and maybe you will remember some of your favorite anime. When you're watching some of your favorite, have you ever noticed a change in the artwork, change in the production? Like there's another different anime that worked on this project, not the same way they had before. That happened to some franchise. It does. Keep that in note. Studio as a project manager. That is in industry standard. Most major studio, MAPPA, which is one, Madhouse, and Toei, act primarily at the management hub. They secure the IP, aka intellectual property. That's what it means. Hire the core directorial team. Then subcontract the large portion of the anime and in between work to smaller domestic or international studio, often in South Korea and China. Take note of that one. This allowed them to meet their weekly deadline for multiple stimulus project, and it can lead to quality fluctuations. Remember that I mentioned Dot Studio, the black-owned anime production studio. Toei Animation is the owner of One Piece. The studio have worked on One Piece and made other big name franchise. I don't know their job is. They will pick the project up, work on certain things they need to work on, and pass it on to the main company before they can finish the end production. That happened a lot. This allowed them to meet the weekly, like I said, deadline for multiple similar projects, and it can lead to quality fluctuations. It do happen a lot. Ultimately, the speed and the quality of anime production is a continuous juggling act and a battle fought by the studio to balance creative visions, rules of schedule, and limitation of their budget. Give me a second. I'll crack my neck. Ooh. I hold the mic, then I pick that one up. This is something I'm sure every hardcore anime fan who picked up on when certain anime went to different studios. One Punch Man started season one from one studio, then jumped to another studio. It's ridiculous, but it did happen. It happened a lot of the time. You can tell based on the change of the artwork, change of the scenery, or the frame rate, or the design of the character. If it stayed the same or it has changed to a certain degree. You know that if you pay attention to it. That's very, very true. The global streamer effect. This is where we are today, right now. The new power broker, the rise of global streaming platform is the single biggest driver of change, injecting capital but also consolidating power. True. Massive market growth. The global anime market size is projected to reach over $60 billion by 2030. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's 11 o'clock. We're in 2025. So, by the next 5 years, the anime industry, the global anime market size, will reach $60 billion. That's a big deal. Driven largely by online distribution, North America is often cited as the fastest growing market. It's a big deal. The funding model shift. Streamers like Netflix and Crunchyroll, which Eric hates the most, now act as major financiers and co-producers. Which is why I say what I said. The way Netflix is doing about their business, they have to be very, very careful. often paying for an entire season upfront. You know what, Eric? Let's see what you say about this one. Unless they do an intentional shift to super deform character design in the episode, the animation remain consistent. Such things are typically done for comedic effect. Yeah, you correct. As I was saying, it made a fundamental shift. Streamers like Netflix and Crunchyroll now act as major financial and co-producer, often paying for an entire season upfront. Netflix did that with the One Piece franchise. They are negotiating and trying to get an agreement based on the many seasons and what would they add on to the network. They provide studio with a more stable budget than the traditional Japanese production committee model, but often require global streaming rights exclusively. Meaning, I'm gonna put this: Netflix. They buy the license right to broadcast One Piece, not only in the Western, which is the NAFTA region, which is North America, including Canada, or Latin, which is South America region, or Enis, which is the European regions, or the region between Japan and China and South Korea. None of region are well. So when they're buying bulk, that's a lot of money they put in their pocket, right? To work back on and produce great more anime. But at the same time, set up competition. Where am I right now? Consolidation risk. The merger of major streaming players. This is, I'm glad that we're being pointed out. The consolidation risk. The merger of major streaming players, which is like Funimation and Crunchyroll consolidation, reduce competitions. Do you now face a dominant buyer? We can depress licensing fees and limit the chance of niche or experimental projects to find a global audience without the backing of the main platform. There's a lot of great anime production that have come out. That's only big they made out to either vote on it or allow it to come see the light of day. That's the issue. Global simulcast. Germany has standardized the worldwide release of anime simultaneously with the Japanese broadcast, making hit shows like Door for You Table, aka Demon Slayer, into an instant global cultural phenomenon. Yeah, Crunchyroll is making the money on that one, big time, and Netflix as well, and Amazon. The internal crisis, labor sustainability, despite record-breaking revenue, they are making a kid on a global scale. The people doing the physical work are under immense pressure, threatening the long-term health of the creative base. I want you guys to let this topic, this part of the conversation thinking. How many anime creators have we lost so far, or we're about to lose? I want you guys to think about that. We got Kira Toyama, the writer and the editor of Berserk. We have One Piece. There are a lot more examples of the creator of trying these anime franchise due to the level of stress they apply onto their body. They get ill because they don't get a break, which is very, very, very true. But it's highly concerning. Let's read about this. The talent exodus and the demand for high quality, high volume content strain the traditional freelance model. Animators often face low pay, which is true, schooling schedule with production cycle that are too short. Meaning, you had an anime. Okay, Eric, we get it. I'll tell you, Eric hated it. As I was saying, you watch certain anime show every week. The anime show on Monday, will come out next Monday. You gotta make sure you get active know which the week time. You see anime program every 2 weeks, it's up to breed. But that's never been the case all the time, mostly on a weekly basis. So imagine doing that every day for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years or so. So put that in perspective. How much stress built up? And I'm thinking, like, y'all comment in. How much mental and physical stress do you think it really is to like keep some of these top anime production going? If you're a fan of Demon Slayer, if you're a fan of One Piece, if you're a fan of One Punch Man, if you're a fan of Bleach, let's see what other coming out there. Kaiju 8. I'm trying to think of all the big Solo Level. Thank you. Solo is on a break right now, right? We're going on a new season. How many episodes did I likely to give out on certain seasons? How about do you think they put on the frame for frame workload based on the scene, the frame, the motion, everything? How much do you think they put on top into? So let that sink in. Studio burnout. The Mappa example. Studio like Mappa by taking on multiple massive flagship titles, which is crazy. They are on the list. Jujutsu Kaisen. Attack on Titan. Final season. Chainsaw Man. I believe Attack on Titan, the final season, and Chainsaw Man put a lot more pressure on them than anything else. I believe that totally well. But it's not like you have a huge team who are writing and designing comic or comic animation. Which is a big deal. Demonstrate the current pressure cooker environment where a studio must constantly churn out usually demanding work at an unsustainable pace. So many people are working more than 8 hours a day. I want to put that right about. I want you to get that. I want to get that in perspective. This is a career that is not simple. It's not for the weak of heart. It's not for the lazy mind. If you have an anime idea or a manga idea or comic book idea, whatever you want to call it, you're able to push out your work. And you so many copies. I want you to think about it right now. I want to build a case. So many manga books. main chapter. You have about between 60 and between 60 and 109 chapter already, right? You have a huge popularity so far from the manga you put and you're still pushing out there. And they have been desired whereby they want to make a anime adaptation of your favorite manga book. So tell me how once a particular studio company acquire and secure their IP, and now your manga team had to work with the animated team, the illustrator, the visionary team to produce the anime shows, and you churn them out. Then I'm trying to think exactly what was just Kyoto Yama and all the other. Then you have people. Okay, Eric, you have people sleeping in the studio trying to finish off these works. I want you to picture because you're working for some of the big name studio production companies. The company acquired some of the biggest name manga book, and they gather about I don't know 40, 50 of you guys. Your job to work on this particular project. So you go do the anime adaptation of the particular manga, working on the multiple scenes. Done with one episode. It's slotted for to come out next week on the air. Work on the next one, work on the next one, work on the next one. I want you to let that one sink in. I'm thinking about it right now. Tell me, how will you navigate your team? And the company tell the TV station, TV Tokyo, first season, you're pushing to push out 24 episodes. 24 episodes take cover over, I don't know, maybe 68 chapters in the book. 68 chapters of your manga, right? Me, you had to get all these such an individual who will break up the tasks. And if anyone have seen on the production studio, right, they are getting to work. They getting the reference of the manga. Everybody got the copy of the manga, whatever. They're referencing on the drawing on a particular frame. They had to get it. Imagine how that plays out over time. And the season this particular franchise will air out, it could be, I don't know, it could be next year, which give you time to be after you get the work done. Or if the company is constantly chewing out animes, constantly spinning out anime, constantly pushing out anime, right? Like One Piece. I'll use One Piece because One Piece have been churning out animes. So imagine the type of team you have working on that project. I remember a few times when they had the team for the DB, for the Dragon Ball franchise, take a break from the project to come and join the One Piece team to kind of help them catch up with their schedule. But they got a ton of anime they had to push out. So imagine how many hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours in a studio for months on hand. To get 24 episodes, 12 episodes ready before the deadline for the air is very, very unique. And that's something I'm looking at right now. So as I'm trying to put it in perspective, picture. How can I be a director of a team working on a project, churning out, churning out, churning out, churning out? I'm sure you're an animator, you came to join my team. You don't smoke, you don't drink. 6 months in, you're smoking 2 boxes of cigarettes a day. Because of the amount of workload. They're all part of a huge project. The stress is kicking in. You don't go home. I'm sure you have seen it. Your coworker got an airbed under his desk. There's no point in going home. You got so much work to get done. You close out at 9 o'clock. You go to the nearby bar. You get something to drink. You come back and sleep on your airbed right next to your desk. Do not go home. You hear what I said? Wake up in the morning, early in the morning, on your list of work you have to, of frame you got to work on. Think about it. That's studio burnout right there. Some people sleep in the studio. They got an airbed or a sleeping bed. They bought a toothbrush, a toothpaste, a little washcloth for their face because to churn out 24 episodes, 32 episodes, 50 episodes, and the amount of artwork on it is ridiculous. So imagine that. Studio Burnout, Mappa example. Studio like Mappa was taking on multiple massive flagship at the same time. Like Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan, Final Season, and Chainsaw Man. You got to get that work done. While they're doing this, where the studio have must constantly churn out visual demanding work on an unstable pace. This is why we have Akira Toriyama have bad health. The creator of Berserk went through the same way. One Piece creator got sick at one point, then he recovered. So imagine that workload. It's crazy. Everybody's doing it. Some pace themselves out and they project their part to go out in the air next year so they can breathe. Some then got the chance to breathe because it's a long going project. So imagine that one. The QA Ani model as a solution. The auto animation with the QA Ani then as a critical counter example. Unique commitment to a salary staff model. Keyword salary. No freelancers. You are part of the team. You got a salary. In-house training and better work conditions allow them to maintain a consistent style and superior technical quality, suggesting that sustainable labor practices are key to consistent excellence. Meaning, you're not going to be working you to the ground. Which means, working on this project, you got a year and a half to get it done before it go on air. You pace your time. You finish the project maybe, I don't know, 4 months early before the deadline. The editor check all the episodes, make sure all the framework, everything's done. If you're good, you got the green light. They submit that the production to the studio to have it scheduled at a date it's later on. You take a break, take a vacation, you're able to chill. Go swimming, you want to go bike riding, whatever, you relax. Compared to other studio, across the street, they like at the bar, getting some udon, some noodles, drinking, go back to their desk, sleep right there and there, wake up early, continue on their work. That's the difference. Crazy. Global simulcasting. The streaming had standardized the worldwide release of anime simultaneously with Japanese broadcasts. In other words, TV Tokyo will be the first to air the broadcast before it goes to all the streaming service. It's a sequel to that, making it a hit show like those from UFO Table Demon Slayer into an instant global cultural phenomenon. Very critical. We and breaking it down because I've seen the video. I've seen some of the interviews. I've seen some of the work they had to put. No, the studio is big, don't get me wrong. But what you're not going to notice if you're paying attention, look under their desks. Some people have their sleeping bag under their desk. Some people have their airbed under the desk. When the amount of work, I read some manga where they talk about a particular crew working on a particular project, and they're sleeping on the couch at the lounge. Some studio have a shower built in. So these are people who don't go home at all. They're working in that studio weeks upon week, month upon month on a big project before it been viewed, verified, and checked before they can even take a break. That's what happened. So the conclusions, the power and the paradox. Anime studios are at the center of a global entertainment boom. Demon Slayer is dominating the box office. You know how much money they put in that budget to produce the Demon Slayer movie? 20 million. Demon Slayer only invested 20 million. I mean, this is the amount of money they paid to get that movie produced, worked on, designed, worked frame for frame, illustrator, the special effect, the CGI or non-CGI, have all that thing put into place in that project. Have one of the main editors validate every frame for frame, make sure everything is on point and on key before it hit the movie theater, and all that cost them $20 million compared to Superman budget, compared to the movie that Marlon Wayans got put out. How many movies did Wally did Demon Slayer beat out? We can't hear Wally right now.
Okay, wrong Putting Bush. If I'm not mistaken, they beat out 3 movies.
3 movies.
But I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, you gotta remember though, beating out 3 movies that are actually with actual people that are acting the role versus an actual animation role. There's 2 different things.
Yeah, you're right. But how much the budget is depending on those type of project.
You're right, and there's a reason why. You got an animation, and then you got actual people.
True. I'll give you that one. I'll leave that one. You do got a point in that. But they're making a huge killing back. Not every time we see an anime make this kind of money. But the fact that it is a huge global phenomenon, it put out a level of pressure on the animator.
No, I mean that just goes to show you that's how popular the anime is getting.
Yeah.
If anime is beating out actual, real, live, actional projects, I mean, you got to start asking yourself to this day. Okay, you beat out Fantastic Four, you beat out him, and then you beat out Superman. Why did you beat out those 3 competitors? Well, what was wrong with Superman that you beat out, that was able to beat out? Okay, let's question those things. Because there's a lot of things with that. A lot of people amongst the fan base, especially if you're a diehard and you're critical because it didn't fit the comics, you already throw Superman under the bus. Fantastic Four, same thing. You threw that under the bus too. And then him, pick and choose. You know, you can pick and choose. Because him, if you've seen him, you probably liked it. I haven't seen it, so I can't criticize. But if you like what the idea, the backdrops, and the meaning of the movie, yeah. Now, depending on how that all rolled out to you, start to finish, on your flavor taste, again, it's dependable how that goes. But when you talk about people that are diehards into anime, Anybody, and I mean anybody, knew this was going to be a hit no matter what, because there's no fail.
And remember we had this argument about the fan base matter more than what we expected.
I mean, like, think of it like this, right? Okay, have you seen Superman and Batman with their kids, their sons? The movie, that movie,
And,
when they have their
and
sons?
I have it downloaded. I haven't got a chance to watch it.
All right, so for me, I'm saying like this, right? Let me put it to you like this in a comparison. The animation movies for DC and Marvel, mostly for DC, I would say, the market for those are literally and almost literally just you really like it can't fail. It's like benchmark at 7 in most cases.
Okay.
It's not a failing project, right?
Okay.
Most cases, I mean, some people will rate it like somewhere around 6 and 7, either which way, but overall, it can't fail in general. For most cases, depending on who's reacting to it and all that, it usually can't fail. Anime is pretty much in the same ballpark. Unless it's like off script or somewhat deriving off of the actual anime itself, where
And that
it's
would kill the sales.
not ever in there, it just cannot fail. So
And that's something that we would argue before when we were telling Paul, if you building a movie, either be live action or animated, and then based on a particular source material that have a unique cult following or massive fan base, if you're not being close to the material, you could hit or miss.
there ain't no hit. I mean, young, and that's my thing. Okay, I'm gonna say it like this. Oh my god, I'm gonna say it like this. I guess I have to throw some punches and some gut punches to freaking DC and Marvel at this point, because the biggest problem with Marvel and DC, I know a lot of people say, "Well, look, get over it. It's an adaptation movie." You can't tell people to get the fuck over it when they read the books and they know what the frick happened in the books. Telling someone to get over is like you trying to slap them in the face and think nothing's gonna happen after you slap them in the face. No, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen.
Thank you. Somebody agree. Fanboy will go crazy. Yes. I remember saying this. A particular franchise series on Amazon did not follow the source material. They divert and did a joke, Wally. They lied on the first day. Oh, we are following the book. And people caught on and found they're not following the book.
Get over what? I don't know what you're talking about.
Here's the thing. First season, they lied. Second season, they caught on they wasn't following the books. Third season, the fan base say F you. And the viewage dropped dramatically. It started to drop from first season, take a nosedive at the second season, and plunge on the third season. So tell me how you make your money back if you think you can bullwinkle your fan base.
I mean, they have Bullwinkle them. It's just simple. It's called when people buy into it. They go to the movies. Next thing you know, they realize it's trash. They can't get their money back because non-refundable. Game over.
Yeah, and some of them trying to watch. There's some diehard fan, if they love the movie, they will go back and watch it again, and again, and again. For example, Black Panther, the first movie. There were people who went back to the movie theaters multiple times.
Right, but notice one thing. Even in Black Panther, was that truly Black Panther? Not really. But why did they love Black Panther, though? See, again, even if you go off the source material, it's not the problem with going off the source material. It's about, do you make it good even if you went off the source material? I always say this. What about the character truly makes the character really a hero in the movie? What is the defining matter?
That is true.
What is the message? If you can't sell that, I mean, again, I don't need the actual source material. I mean, again, some people do, but if you can sell it to where it's gonna be that, no one won't make a difference. Like Superman. Again, I watched it. I seen certain points where I will sit here and say, as someone that does the research, I would say that was really, because the first half was But when I started looking at the second half of the movie, I was like, okay, no, wait a minute, hold on. I was a little bit too quick. I was a little too quick with it. But you know what? I'm glad I stuck with it. And it hit. And it hit afterwards. But that's the difference. That's the problem where
You
some people have.
so for the see what I did. The first half was
I'm being serious. I'm being so
I know you're
serious.
being serious, but the way you did it, it's like I'm like, ugh.
I mean, it's the truth. If anyone understands that version of Ultraman, is not Ultraman. I mean, not in the way how they described it. It's like, really?
And this is why I always mentioned when you're doing adaptation of any source material, and you're doing it because of the massive cult following or fan base that is behind it, you gotta ask yourself a question as a director or a producer. Are we gonna follow the source material? Or are you gonna wing it? If you're gonna wing it, how far are you gonna wing it? If you divide too far away from the source material, would a fan base appreciate it? Or give me the middle finger? Which one would it be? You know how fan bases are. The first group who watch it, if it was crap, they're on the blogs. Don't watch it. It's trash. It's trash. Get it on bootleg. And social media is brutal.
I mean, it's always going to be brutal, but that's the reality of comics going into live action, especially when it's not even connected the dots to certain things.
Hear what Peter say. You can't make everybody happy. That's the problem. Somebody's going to get butt hurt no matter what. But here's the problem, Peter. Okay, they'll get butt hurt. You invested $300 million on a production. You are hoping to make your money back. If you devolve from the source material and the first batch of the die-hard fan base found out and noted that you devolved far away from the source material and they notified the hive, what do you think is going to happen at the box office?
It's going to tank. But that's this part of the problem. Is just like I mean, the box office. I mean, let's look at one thing clear. Let's make one thing clear, right? Mm-hmm. The box office part is always going to be the tricky part because, of course, people are always behooved by the trailers. And the trailers, the base how they skip in certain action points, they believe that it's going to be ass or it's going to be decent, depending on how you look at it. But you're very looking at it like, like you're waving. It's like, it looks good. But then it's like, once you start watching the whole thing, it's like, ooh, you tricked me, you bastard.
Well, here's the thing.
And, it's one of those many prerequisites.
But before social media, you can get away with it.
You can get away, not really. I mean, even before social media, I mean, because you got to think about it. They could have got away with that as far as picking up the money, but let's be honest, still voting as far as saying like, hey, this is not what I expected. This is not what I choose to waste my money on. What was this? I mean, the backlash alone will still hold you. I mean, think about like even from the anime perspective, right? The Shaman Kings, like you said, Shaman Kings got hit. People didn't love that. What they did, the artist of the original creator of Shaman Kings did what?
A reboot.
They revamped it. They redelivered back the original concept. People got happier. But that's the difference. People know what the freak they want, and people know what they want to be sold. Mm-hmm. If you cannot explain what you were trying to convey in the work that you currently did, people are not going to respect it.
Bingo.
But my thing is this. But that's my problem, though. It's like, again, coming back to Superman. People didn't like it because, he wasn't muscular. I'm like, well, you got a point. Superman is usually muscular.
And the thing is...
But hold on. But even to the fact that he's muscular. So let's get one thing clear. Is he muscular? How old was he? We didn't point those out. How far in the future are we as far as the Superman movie? We didn't point those out. We're not pointing a lot of things because if you really question where Superman is in his life at this point, then I would sit here and say, for those that question his body frame, hey, I give it to you. I give it to you. But if it's still early, you can't really question that.
And remember what I say this. Social media have a way to kill the box office for certain productions.
Right. Even with
If the
Superman,
first batch come out and say, "Oh, Demon Slayer was off the hook," or "You got to see it," or "You know what? Go to the IMAX. The IMAX will be better." You don't think everybody will plan to go to the IMAX and schedule to get their ticket to get the IMAX and the box will go haywire?
yeah, nah, I can't
So,
believe it.
like I'm saying, the first batch who watched the movie, they're the one who want to go to social media.
Right, and then they defied how far it goes in the extra. Yeah, of course, and that's why, like, because even what Superman first, I think first time in, it didn't even hit past the who's the last Superman, that guy's movie. It didn't even hit past his original time of doing it the first time. It eventually, you know, after it kind of start climbing, it eventually got there. But other than that, first weekend, it didn't even hit the same numbers. But even with that, like, there's still other projects. Like, this is my personal favorite. I know a lot of people will say otherwise. Craven, I believe Craven was better than what people say that it was. I know a lot of people flame Craven at the beginning, but personally, to me, Craven was actually poetry in motion. I love Craven.
I would say that technically Craven was technically produced better than what it expected.
Yeah, it's just like the
It
storyline
gave
with the
it
line
an
art.
origin feel, like something that you expect Wolverine movie to be, or even better. It kind of like played a part. It should be. But you know, you have tough critic who is a heavy fan of the Craven franchise and how Craven came about. I totally understand. I totally get it. But this is something I'll be trying to point out. We in a computer age, and social media have a key factor on how movies succeed or movie fails. When the first
You know,
bad and when the
I definitely agree.
and when the first bad is letting people know that you did not follow the source material or whatever you did with the pizza.
Right. Because I'll even say this, right? Because so when Morbius came out, I sort of gave Morbius like an average grade of 6. But as time got on, I realized, yeah, I got to give it lower because Morbius wasn't what it was in most cases. I only gave it a 6 because for what it was, I mean, as close as we get it. But then at the same time, as far as looking at Morbius in the comics and be like in comparison, like, yeah, that really ain't it. That really ain't it.
And let's be real, a lot of these new movies that coming out, these live action movies, in some case it is based on original idea, not from source material. So one can expect anything. But when you do a movie based on a cult following, and you choose nullify their close to source material, then you're taking a very mighty risk. That's the truth. The power. They had unprecedented financial resource and an audience reach that can span the globe. The anime industry have a brutal, I mean brutal fan base. And some of these fan base have big money makers willing to spend money to go and watch it multiple times in the theaters. Because they love it in the theaters. So you cannot deny that. The paradox. This success is built on an underlying production system that is often under resourced and overscheduled, pulling the very talent that drive the global phenomenon at risk, aka Akira Toriyama. Maybe this is why he was beyond burnt out and stressed out. Studio burned out. The amount of work because the few times they took a break, they took the whole entire team and had them join the One Piece team to continue the production. So that could be a key to why a lot of these animators slash manga writers are burning out and then dying from bad health. That could be the case. The future of the anime industry will be defined by its ability and to translate global revenue into sustainable fare and humane working conditions for the animator and staff who create the world's most desired animated content. This is something that you may have to, and I mean it, you may have to give nothing but solid respect. And the reason why I'm saying that, We were talking about in all our past show. We talk about Naruto. We talk about Dragon Ball Z. We talk about Gungrave. We talk about all the other anime that we did reviews on, right? And we wonder why the anime creators are dying out, right? Why are these anime creators having bad health? Why they're not living long and they're dying early? They what age? 40, 50,
Some older.
some older. Okay. So this might be a eye opener for anybody who into anime, who love anime. If you watch this, if you watch it on Facebook, you watching it on YouTube, watching it on Twitch, you watching it on Kick.com, whatever streaming platform we broadcast, I want you to get a concept onto what it takes to produce all the powerful anime franchise that you love and you go to dig in onto, because this is not no simple Walt Disney. No. Walt Disney's not on this level. And now they want to jump into the game. They have their own anime version on Disney Plus, with no one compared to what the big juggernauts are doing right now. So when you have an understanding and have respect for the creators, the anime director, the anime producers, the illustrator, the animator, the writers, the people that work on the frame, the the color and everything. This is a whole entire engine. Once again, look up Black Experience in Japan. Look up the interview for Dot Studio. They did an interview for the guy who owned his black-owned anime production studio, and see the question that would act and what it took for him to get to that level. It's not simple. What I will do, if I can, I will link the interview in the post section for Sparta HQ Network and on my platform as well. Why do I want to do the same? You can do the same, so you can watch the interview and you listen and see what it took him, from a guy from New Jersey who had a degree in art, took a risk to fly all the way to Japan to study at one of the biggest animators at its time, who was still alive at the time, and see the kind of work they got to go through to produce anime, to work on different sections of the project. This is the big deal. So, what's going on for the rest of the week, Wally, if you want to fill everybody in for the scheduling?
Well, tomorrow on Thursday, we have the Nail the Interview, From Nerves to Confidence. That will be the Thursday show for tomorrow. Friday to be announced. Saturday will be Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat, the Ultimate Fighting Game Showdown. And then, of course, Sunday will be, again, to be determined, and to be announced, I should say. Sorry about that. And then on the following Tuesday, we will have Do Men Forget How to Talk to Women? And then last but not least, next round, we will have the Big Three, a Shonen Dynasty.
The Big Three, I want you guys to pop up so we will have this argument with the Big Three. I think that is needed because...
Wait, what argument?
No, the Big Three. You have some of these BS that talk about why Bleach should be part of the Big Three or whatever.
Oh, no. That's not that type of argument.
Oh, not an argument? What kind of argument would that be?
That's not an argument.
I call it an argument because we go play some clips.
You call it an argument because the clip thing?
Yeah, we will play some dumbass clip that people...
I mean, that's a different notion though. That's more of the what videos that is. Yeah, that's more for the Emperor thing, the Emperor of anime.
Okay. So
not more for that. This is just more so to reckon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Big Three, a Shonen Dynasty. This show is to recognize the many shows throughout centuries, which is going to be a couple of centuries in between, of what anime led force into building and keeping anime intact throughout the years. Though that's what that's going to be about.
I want to call it an argument because it's not gonna be an argument on our end, but to the babies or the baby or the kiddies or the toddlers in anime who haven't dug deep like we have. We're gonna have a fit if we mention who are the big three based on different era, and they say, "Oh, it cannot be," but they don't understand what groundwork the anime laid for the future anime to come through. That's why we call it anime unlock. We're not currently in favor, but we call it as it is, straight to the point. If I'm wrong, I'll be corrected. If you're wrong, you'll be corrected. This is how we do on this channel. We invite any content creator who will be on this platform and have this type of discussion because we're going a little bit bigger on the back end side. We deal with the corporation, we deal with the foundation, and what made the anime industry what it is right now. Before we get back into the reviews again and start reviewing other anime from other production studios, then from there you have a concept of what to expect. And for those who are new into the anime industry, and they got some of their favorite, I'm hoping some of these shows that we are doing right now will make it easier for you to understand, easier to comprehend, easier to look at and appreciate what brought them to this place right out today. My final thought that did it was very simple. It's just I'm glad we have this show so we get a concept understanding of the sweat, blood, and tears that they put in to create such a phenomenal industry, which I hate to say it, is technically life threatening. It is, depending on which studio they're working under, how much stress they go. I'm not sure if I would ever work in the company, I would have less gray. I might be all grayed out. I might be into the ultra inch stage. I'm not sure Wally will be big Wally or he would have slimmed down because he would have lost a lot of weight from stress. I could have lost a lot of weight too if I'm in those type of.
I walked away by now. You ain't gonna slave me.
You walk away from millions of dollars on the table?
Akira Takayama's willing to do it.
Huh?
Akira Takayama's willing to do it.
What?
I think I won't do it either. Money ain't everything. But y'all damn sure make it that way. So.
Hey, can't argue that. Well, this is what they put themselves through to make a mark in history, the mark in society, the mark in the industry.
Man, it's a great thing to make a mark in history, but remember, history is not made in one day. It's made over time. And I'm not going to stress to do one thing in history within a couple of months and then stress myself out just to do that. No. This is an art. An art is not made in a day. Unless you're just that crazy enough to have it that one moment, you just knew what the frick you was going to do that moment.
Yeah, but
because there's only one panel. This is not a one panel scenario.
But they turned into a money making engine right now. You can see how they're popping out powerful enemy as of lately.
I don't know, yeah. Everyone's having a great crazy idea. That's for sure. Can't knock it.
Now, here's why I say certain people will get the heat. Crunchyroll, I saw you on Comic Con on Saturday. I saw your setup. What happened to Kingdom High School? Y'all were heavily invested in that. You only one season of 12 episodes. And after that, there's no season 2. But there are over 500 chapters in that franchise.
Wait a minute, you saw the panel. Who's there on the panel?
No, they had a booth set up. There was no panel. You know how they had a booth?
Okay, so they had the booth. Okay,
Yeah.
so like who's at the booth though?
There was no producer. I think they would have done that on the upper floor. That's when you have the sit down and everybody talk about what's on. They had their own booth where people coming in, check out stuff. They were promoting the manga side. They do a manga set of country. No, country would have
Okay, that's
anime.
on manga.
and they were doing manga. So kind of like
That's fine.
everybody coming in to check out and see what is coming to Crunchyroll. But my deal is this: you took one of the best manga out there, the King of High School, one season, 12 episodes. You didn't follow suit and do season two. That's many years later. So what's up, Crunchyroll? We're calling you out. And when we will soon, these series will soon end soon. It will be my turn. Start getting some show ideas. I do hope in due time we have Takachi join the show. I'm looking forward to have some females content creator on this show too. We have some other discussions or reviews. And if you have any anime idea or anime you want us to review on the next season, please leave your comment. Whatever question you want me to answer for you guys or whatever thought process concerning this episode, please, please, please like the show, leave your comment. We'll come back and check on the comment. Please watch the other packed episode where we did a lot of breakdown concerning the anime franchise, anime industry, whatsoever. Please, please, please. I know it's may not see it's on entertainment or anything, but it gives you a count of what anime is. Because there are a lot of people jumping into anime and they have no idea what anime is. Japanese anime. And they have a weird assumption about it. We're taking our time to do a breakdown. We have to understand what's really going on. So please like the channel, subscribe to the channel, leave your comment. We will come back and check. Then either I or Wally will do a response to it and a breakdown if necessary. All right. On that note, this is Wally, my co-host, my legal analyst on anime, and my yang to my yin. It is. Yeah, sometimes I can.
See, he's trying to sit here saying I'm the yang to his yin. No. I'm always mostly balanced in the anime side. I'm never gonna be biased.
Okay, he the balanced side. I'm the brutal side. Sometimes if I don't like her,
AKA you got to stand on one flop. And look, if you tilt off the earth, look, do not ask me to catch you. You chose to freaking walk over it.
okay, no problem.
Just make sure you can fly. Make sure you can fly.
You see a big black bear with wings, run.
I don't need to run.
I'm telling the audience, we see a big black bear flying with wings, run. This is CBN Tech Talk, aka Black David, aka Bear Paw. Watching on Facebook, YouTube, Kick, Twitch.com. Please come to the channel. We're on YouTube heavily. We broadcast on multiple platforms. We may get to more platforms hopefully in the future. Like and subscribe our channel. Leave your comment. And we'll check back on you. On that note, good night. Be safe. We'll see you next week on another episode of Anime Unlock.